Very late, but better than never, I suppose. That is the expression people say. This was supposed to be uploaded yesterday on the 20th of October. Now, technically here where I am, it is 1:02 in the morning, making it Sunday the 22nd of October, 2023. But it's still, for me, technically Saturday night. So that would be a day late and $1 short, and that's what I am with this video, I'm afraid. Hopefully it'll become apparent why that is, because I made a bad decision on what to draw for installment number 20. Sometimes I call it a submission and sometimes I call it just a part. I never know what to call it, but number 20 of the Inktober challenge that I have been engaging in this year. And I uploaded a video yesterday. I think I called it I made a mistake. Very true, I did make a mistake. And the mistake was to draw something which is very similar. I mentioned this yesterday, so if you've seen yesterday's video, I apologize. I'm going to quickly recap what I was saying then, which is I decided to draw something very similar to the image I made in response to the post-it note video by Peter Draws. My response was to say how to draw like Peter draws, and then I did a drawing using that post-it note start off or jumping off points for a drawing and making my own sort of image. It wasn't exactly like how Peter draws, but he gave me the his blessing for me to make that video. He left me a comment. We've spoken a couple of times since then. I've interviewed him twice. He's a lovely guy. I message him back and forth all the time on Instagram. He's a really sweet person. So I very much appreciate him and his help with my videos and just with being a nice person and giving me his opinion on things when I ask him. Anyway, the point being, this image is very similar to that image in ways because of the post-it note element, because of the scale of the drawing, and because of several elements that I include in this image. Now, when I was drawing this yesterday, I was charging away, getting it done, feeling good about it. And what I wasn't considering is that as much as I may be making headway with the drawing, it was still taking hours. And those hours on my camera are, I don't know, tens, hundreds of gigabytes, because it is 4K footage. Now, it's a little bit overkill being 4K footage, but I like this new camera. I want it to be as crystal clear as possible. It doesn't have to be yet, but I want it to be at least a clear image. There are times when I make mistakes with this, just like the day before yesterday. There is a section of the video where what do? I talk about how I'd purchased pieces of cardboard as backing boards for frames that I'd been given for free by a frame makers local to me. And it was very kind of them to give me these frames for free. And I thought I need backing board so that the drawings that I've made can be then taped to the backing board, put in the frames and look like professional pieces of artwork. I got those cut at the shop, went and purchased them, picked them up, brought them back, and then I filmed me double checking, which I should have done before anyway, the measurements were correct. When it's too late, you know, I've already bought the boards, but the point being, I was filming the desk, and before I laid the frame down on the desk to check the measurements of the boards, I was explaining how I was measuring the inside of the frame whilst I was on the phone to the frame shop, so I could have got the measurements wrong. And before the frame went on my desk, the camera was just going in and out of focus constantly. And it's a real shame, because otherwise it would have been a much nicer video. But I think that experience for viewers could be slightly nauseating, and I'm going to triple check to make sure that doesn't happen again in the future. It was just a sloppy edit on my behalf. I hadn't checked that section of the video, and I just let it run because I was confident that the video was just me filming myself putting frames on the desk and then cardboard in the frames. That would all play fine, and I didn't check it. I should have checked it. This video, however, is very long, and it won't have very many edits. And I'm not going to do the daily vlog style filming beforehand, as you'll already know. That's what I've started doing, and that's not happening in this video because it took so many hours to get this done that the footage was overwhelming. I made plans to film certain things that I did with my day before making this drawing, because I didn't start it until about, I think maybe 5 p.m. on the 20th of October, so which I still say is yesterday. Anyway, so about 5 p.m, far too late in the day. I was doing other things earlier, but still I need to ensure that I've allotted enough time for drawings, but not only for the drawings, for the video to be uploaded and processed, because it's so overwhelming for the computer that what happens is I have to delete other things. And then even when I delete them and empty the recycling bin, the computer won't fully acknowledge that until I've restarted the computer. And then there are certain settings which change. Every time I restart the computer, for some reason, my desktop image has disappeared and I have to re-upload that. Just weird things that I'm used to going through now every time I restart the computer. Anyway, it made this a bit of an epic video. Now, I don't know why number 20 would be epic like this. It was just a decision I made on a whim, because I thought, hey, it'd be fun to do a post-it note drawing. Hey, I tell you what paper I can do it on is this kind of slightly glossy A3 paper. And then that was it. I was in, going for it, enjoying the drawing process, and wow, it was just too much. It was too much. As soon as I managed to get the footage onto my computer, then I started to speed it up and just trust that there wasn't any edits I needed to make. I'd changed the camera angle once, so I thought this is going to have to be all I can offer, really. And I do apologize. I want to try and offer higher quality videos and more interesting content alongside the drawings, but this being a daily drawing mission that I'm doing, and also it being 4K footage, kind of clashed with that aim that I've been trying to achieve. And I like having certain ambitious targets that I try to hit. Inktober is always something which is a good thing to motivate yourself, and I've tried to add on top of that this month, for the majority of the month, vlog style videos as well, which I enjoy and I think really makes the videos better quality. That is something which I'll be carrying into other videos in the future, because I've always admired other content creators who have that type of style and ability to storytell throughout their videos. And I think there is plenty of potential with where I live and what I do and the people that I know. There's loads of stories to tell and places to go and people to introduce you to and artists to celebrate, that I really want that to be a focus and highlight of the channel in every video that I upload. For this month, some are going to fall short. Last week, I think it was, I had a bit of a lull week. It was after a few exhibitions I've had. I had one in Carnarvon, one in Bethesda, and then one in Beaumaris. And then all of a sudden things went quiet and I was waking up later in the day and I wasn't doing enough to film anything in order to provide something which was anything like a vlog. and it became a bit of a struggle to create that type of atmosphere and cinematic effect. I have lots of video that I filmed that I haven't shared yet, but I wasn't inclined to say, instead of a vlog, here's a flashback. I may start doing that in the future, but then talking about the events, because I think that's more appropriate use of the footage than would have happened if I would have just used it in order to make an excuse to have interesting footage. I don't know. Does that make sense? I want it to be thought out and considered and worthwhile, instead of it being there as a shortcut to get me out of something which doesn't quite make it into the realm of a vlog, which is what I end up doing, is something which doesn't quite make it into the realm of a vlog. Now, the point being, this type of drawing I really enjoy and I want to do more of, but when it comes to daily drawing, I don't think it really serves it that well. And this has several elements to it, which I think weren't my favourite features of this type of drawing. Compositionally, I don't think it's nearly as strong as the first one that I made, but I'm going to make lots more of these images with more time on my hands, and just try to make a series of them where they're going to be what I envision they should be. This should be a series of images to me which become part of a universe of textural renderings, and potentially part of a either sci-fi realm or an introspective, internalized reflection of our processes and biology. It's hard to explain without being too graphic, and I don't really want to do that at this point. But I have explored mutation drawings a little bit this year in several ways, but I think that they've all been a little bit easier than this one was, and they weren't drawings that I did in a day. So I think that's part of what made this go awry and be a day late. Now, saying that it's a day late, I need to mention as well that I did do a video for my 21st submission. So if this is number 20, I have also got 21 in the bag. As far as I've made the video, I haven't edited the video yet, but I've kind of filmed the video and it's on the computer ready to be processed after this one's been exported and uploaded and cleared. Now, there's quite a dramatic contrast between this drawing and the drawing that I've made for today, which is the 21st, because of what happened. And I don't think I'll be doing anything similar to this type of drawing for the rest of the month. I think I can achieve other things that will be really interesting, quite nice and technical drawings that don't have these types of problems. I think it's not necessarily the scale or the detail, it's the time that it takes. And it takes that time because of me creating all of these little string-like tapered edges that need to be preserved when I'm trying to render a hatched background that then becomes its own texture with dark midtone and dark shadow. That becomes difficult when I'm trying to make sure I don't cross over the lines. I stay outside of the lines of the shapes that I'm trying to make look like they're in the foreground. That's where it takes longer. Scale probably is a thing, but and maybe the time of day that I started it as well. But I can't afford for it to be hours and hours drawing if the camera is then going to produce this strain on the computer. I may have to just purge certain bulks of footage that I've kept. I'm a bit of a hoarder when it comes to video footage, just like other things. So it's possible that I will clear a load of space on my external hard drives just by going through old images and thinking, yeah, it was good, yeah, it was fun, but I have the footage from the video. I don't need the raw footage that I filmed initially. It might not be worth it. So I might have to delete that. This is all to do with not necessarily having the funds in order to purchase more external hard drives as well, which is just a sad reality that I'm kind of butting up against at the moment, that I invested in really large hard drives. I mean, I had 10 terabytes and those were filled up very quickly because I'm using 4K footage. So that's just the truth of it. That's just something I'm going to have to deal with. You've seen the advert that I put in this video about Patreon. I'm putting that in every video at the moment, just because if I can encourage anyone to support me on Patreon, then that would be amazing. But if not, it's fine. Obviously, I really appreciate you just watching this video. This is something which I'm hoping could in the future potentially be the type of artwork that I make into an exhibition. Imagine a gallery where the space is full of mutation images. And not only that, I've started to, earlier this year, do several of these where they become coloured digitally, which really transforms them as well. Now, I don't do that with this drawing because it's a daily drawing and it was hard enough as it is. But in the future, all of these things become possibilities, especially as I have more and more of them and can spend more time and invest more hours into the consideration for how to compose the image and how to develop and render the image with more skill and time, because I think that the mark making is a very important aspect of this type of artwork, to me anyway. So the post-it note concept is thanks to Peter Draws. What he did was he used a post-it note to start drawing off of, and his doodles became onto the page, and then he would draw through the gap, the space. But I like to leave the space. I think it's really interesting having that space in between all of that technical, organic looking mutation. And that's why I've left them 3 gaps. Now with one of them, I thought drawing through it will be quite nice and quite an interesting way to depart from the 2 spaces that I've left on the right and left hand side of the landscape version of the image. So that's what I did, and that's something which I might play with again in the future. I may start pushing things through these spaces, but not the hatching, but several other things. I don't know. I did consider doing it with the other 2 spaces. I think if I had this drawing for 3 more days, it'd be completely different. And I was considering working on it for longer again because it has so much potential. But in hindsight now, I think I would have rather made the composition more sound. So in retrospective, what I should actually do, not in retrospective, reflecting now upon what I have done, what I'm going to do going forward is start the image from scratch on the same type of paper with the same types of pens, but do it right next time. Make it more interesting, make it more kind of things like type of images that I'm into in animated films and in comic books. I think there are certain visual imagery which really connects with me, and I need to start utilizing that because it is the type of artwork I like and I want to see. So I should really cultivate that side of my interest. And this one was a unique installment of the Inktober challenge for this year, for me anyway, because every other drawing I've done has been nothing like this. I said I might do a mutation drawing for this challenge this year, and I didn't think it would be A3. That was a strange decision that I made on a whim. I've been making some strange decisions on whims recently. I think it's because I've had this time since the exhibition ended that I've started to think, how can I make this more creative? And if I come up with something last minute, I'll do it. I'll just go, right, that's it. That's what I'm doing now. And it's not always the best decision. It's sometimes a little bit too challenging. I did consider, after recording the commentary on this video, doing the next video, which is exactly what I'm going to do, the 21st drawing. And then I thought about doing the 22nd drawing before going to bed so that I have all day tomorrow to do other things, but I'm going to wait until I get up. I want to have a fresh mind, do something decent, and I hope that you like it.